I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is that there's a new cooperative mode in Zen Pinball Party. The bad news is that we're losing. With only 20 days left, we're not on track to reaching the 15 million points goal. When this video was recorded, the community only had 22,000 points. That's after a whole weekend. It was a 3-day weekend too in the United States. I'm doing what I can, as here I am in first place, but that just means that the majority of other players either don't care, are unaware, or realize the futility. Why? What went wrong? Well, let's start at the beginning. The community event is a rather interesting twist on pinball, which is traditionally a soloist game. But here, two players can team up to try and score as many points as possible. That's problem number one. You only get 3 minutes. I have a funny story about this, but let's stick to the instructions for right now. Basically, a wizard-looking character will pop into the playfield. If you hit it, that will add a multiplier to your score. First it's 1.5x, then it's 2x, followed by 3x, and ultimately 4x. So that's the challenge, getting the 4x multiplier as soon as possible, and then keeping it for as long as possible. If enough players can do this, there are prizes, a bronze, a silver, and a gold. Sadly, even the lowly bronze prize, which requires 2 million points, seems out of reach. Now, let's be real, the prizes aren't likely to be spectacular. It looks like more decorations for your pinball banner. I doubt that I'm going to swap out my American flag, but that's not really the point. The point is that this is the first supremely difficult challenge that I've seen in the game. I have all 45 stars. That was trivial compared to the difficulty of cooperative mode. I'll start a game so you can see the other problems. Also, this does take a while. Not a lot of people are playing this mode. And unlike the competitive arena, this game doesn't send a bot if you're waiting too long. So right away, we can see problem number 2. You can't pick the tables. This is Castle Storm. I like this table, but it's not my best scoring table. I can't even hit the skill shot most of the time. That's pretty obvious when the ball wants to hang out by the bumpers. So, when playing this game normally, I usually do things like this. Try to storm the enemy castle. No, here I'm going to intentionally drop the ball. That's because I want to hit the wizard. See, there he is. I couldn't see him from up top, and hitting the wizard is usually the top priority in these battles. My teammate already hit the wizard, bringing the score multiplier to 1.5. My hit brings the multiplier up another level. The wizard ping-pongs between my table and my teammate's table. Another 2 wizard hits, and now we're at a 4x multiplier. We're doing rather well here, as now I can fight the Vikings and get a massive scoring bonus. I have no idea what my teammate was doing, but that's a really nice score. However, that's problem number 3. The golds are too high. This is an awesome run, but we're still just short of the 17.3 million points. Considering that one of the themes of this team event is to get lots of consecutive wins, that is a difficult challenge for the first run. And it only gets more difficult with each consecutive win. However, we were able to achieve victory here. That's 100 points for each player. There's also a bonus for the time remaining. There wasn't a streak bonus, as that was the first table. The next battle is on a Williams table. It's the Getaway High Speed 2. I also like this table, although I seem to do much better in single player mode. That's the funny story I mentioned with the first problem. A pinball game just isn't satisfying without a multi-ball. 3 minutes just isn't enough time to get a good multi-ball going. Now there are obvious sexual comments to make here, but instead, here's my comparison for general audiences. Back when Donkey Kong Country was new, not long after when this pinball game was new, I got a job as a video game demonstrator for Nintendo and Toys R Us. My job was to stand next to a Super Nintendo kiosk and help promote the game. I'd answer questions about the game, help people with their purchase, and I'd also get to play the game. While that last part sounds awesome, that ironically was the main problem. The game would reset after a few minutes. That wasn't fun. The job suddenly felt dull and repetitive. There wasn't any real conversation with the customers either, as many just instantly bought the game anyway.
Hi there.
That's what's happening here. Before any real action can get going, the game stops and resets. If the top pinball players are struggling to get points, casual players aren't likely to find this new game mode to be much fun. So hopefully, the developers see this problem and quickly adjust the game. Not much is needed to fix this problem. Just increase the time to 5 minutes and let the players pick the tables that they want to play. That could make cooperative mode lots of fun. And when you really think about it, small tweaks is what made this new game mode possible. The wizard is basically a target that randomly appears across 2 pinball tables with shared scoring. Brilliant. Overall, I like it, if the developers fix it. The game needs to be less tedious, and the difficulty needs to be lowered to be less insane. But what do you think? Do you like the new game mode? You can let everyone know in the comments. Thanks for watching.